to the watch party of the 87th Masters with Kostis and McCord. Today is moving day at the Masters. The third round is always crucial, separating the contenders from the pretenders. With trees down and a live golfer in the hunt, who'll be the next to don the green jacket? And now your hosts, Kostis and McCord, off their rockers.
Welcome to Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers live stream Saturday at the Masters, moving day. I'm Mike Abram. I'm the producer of Kostis and McCord, and I've got Peter Kostis, Gary McCord right next to me. We're here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We might not be talking about as much live golf, but they've got some things on their mind. Peter Kostis, what do you think about everything that's happened so far in the Masters these first 2.5 days?
Well, you said live stream, and I'm thinking it's more like a live river because of all the water on the golf course. It's been an eventful first couple of days, 2.5 days. It's been 87 degrees and humid and hot, and this morning mid 40s, raining and wind blowing sideways. So it's exciting to be here and to talk about the Masters. And what I was really looking forward to was Gary McCord's return, kind of, sort of, to the Masters. But Gary, even the golf gods don't want you back. They suspended play during our show, so we can't call golf. How you feeling about that, pal?
It's like King Tut's curse. It just, you know, I got bagged in '94, and here we are. 100 years later, we're still alive, that's good. And I get a chance now to go back on, and what happens? Rain, lightning, greens that are flooded, trees falling down, Phil Mickelson in the top 10. My God, can it get any worse?
Oh. You know, we got some storylines to talk about. And we'll be able to fill these 2 hours, trust me. We'll have tips, and we'll do a bunch of stuff in our simulator. But we got Brooks, Koepka leading, Live PGA Tour controversy.
Yeah. Here we go again.
We got the amateur Sam Bennett, who's been playing some spectacular golf. We got Jon Rahm, who started off with a 4-putt double bogey at the first hole, and he's right there, a couple shots out of the lead. And of course, Tiger manages, with a little help from his friends, which we'll get to, he manages to make the cut for the 23rd consecutive year, and he ties the record. So, God willing, he'll be around next year and maybe set the new record. So, what do you want to start with? You want to start with Brooks?
How about 103-year-old Freddie Couples making the cut?
Yeah, he set a new record. He set a new record as well. Yeah. He's 63 years old. He beat Bernhard Langer's record by a few months. Especially in these conditions, I think that's unbelievable.
That's unbelievable.
I'm wondering if he really is happy that he did it now with these conditions that have surfaced, but so be it, he did it.
Yeah, you could take that and you could take Tiger. Freddie is still ability to walk and so forth and compete. Tiger, man, we saw those last couple of holes. He couldn't even move. And he's got to play, tomorrow? What did we figure out? 26-7 holes or something?
Let's talk Tiger then.
Okay.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to tell the folks, we're going to start with Brooks and Liv. But I want to tell everybody, we will talk Tiger. And if you're wondering what this is, we're doing a live stream, but we're doing a Kostis McCord video podcast. You can like and subscribe right here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@KostisMcCord. We've done some episodes already where Gary was able to tell the true story that was behind him getting fired from the Masters.
That would have been a story.
That would have been a
story.
That was in his
My
mind.
God, I didn't know I won. I didn't get invited to dinner.
Yeah, that was in his
That
mind.
would have been fun
Peter
dinner.
tells his story about his prediction the night before Greg Norman lost his big league to Nick Faldo at the Masters. But all those stories and more. David Faraday was on this past week with the guys, their old pal from CBS. But Garrett, we also talked about this Netflix docuseries, Full Swing. And one of the things that we saw and we discussed on there was Brooks Koepka looking broken, looking down. then he wins last week on Live at Orange County National. Now, Orange County National and Augusta National, only thing in common with each other is National. Yeah. But tell me what you're thinking about how, maybe Peter, start with how Brooks is swinging and what he's doing. And we know, of course, he's going for his 5th major with 2 PGAs and 2 U.S. Opens. What are you thinking going in now with his up to a 4-shot lead over Jon Rahm?
You know, I think a lot of people have written and said a lot of things about Brooks Koepka, and he's lost it. He went to Live because he lost his game, blah, 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 blah. In my opinion, they really don't know a hell of a lot about golf. I think Brooks has been suffering from an injury. His left knee was awful, just awful. And it didn't allow him to make the swing that he normally makes. And, you know, Gary, when you're playing well, you never think you're going to play poorly again. And when you're playing poorly, you never think you're going to play well again. And in my opinion, the depression, if there was depression, came from his physical condition and his inability to be athletic, to be strong like he normally is. Couldn't make his normal golf swing. And now it's come back. Now he's finally healthy again. And last week we saw Brooks Koepka of old in Orange National. And this week we're seeing it again. I mean, I think the attitude clicked back on. I think the positive vibes clicked back on. And in my opinion, it's all because he's healthy.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, we go back over to it. You know, everybody goes, well, you know, what did he hurt his leg? What did he do? He dislocated
the kneecap.
He dislocated his kneecap and then tried to push it back in and shattered it. So that's just not that hurts, this hurts. That is a shattered kneecap, which means basically you can't bend over, you can't do anything. And we saw him in the early part of it. He's trying to line up putts, and he's got his one leg straight, and the other one's bending, trying to get down. Well, you overload one. You know how that stuff goes. And then, you know, the only connection we've had, because when he went to Live, we don't see him on a daily basis playing golf. We don't see how his basic golf game is evolving and so forth. And all of a sudden, he appears on Netflix's Full Swing. And I don't know about you, but that was as dark as I've seen a professional golfer. And as you know, and I played the tour for a long time, it can get dark and lonely when things aren't going bad. And to watch him, I just started, things started going again on a lot of the darkness that I have. You always have a conflict. There's always a conflict, especially in golf, when golf is so immature because anything can happen. And sometimes you can't accept it. And then you sit and you go home after shooting 78.
Are you getting dark again now?
No, just listen. I'm starting to get on a rant here. And you get in the room. I'm trying to help you with some mental illness going on within me. And you get in that room and the conflicts really start. And then you wonder, why in the world am I doing this? Yeah. Why am I playing this game? I can't play to the level I was or I want to. And things then spiral out of control. And it gets really lonely and really mentally, you get incapacitated. And I saw that in him during that.
And when you're in that state of mind, all you can think of or see are the players whose careers have been ended by injury. Mm-hmm. Like, let's just say David Duval.
Yep.
He tried to play through a back injury, tried to swing around it, basically lost his swing, and never regained it. And those are the ways that your mind focuses at times like that. You know, when you're in a dark place, and you don't see the guys who've come back from injury and gone on to play well. But I think Live has been a good thing for Brooks in that he hasn't played as frequently, giving his knee even more time to heal. Yep. Obviously, he's had more time to do his rehab and so on and so forth. But I think Brooks Koepka is back because he's healthy.
And you know, Peter, too, we can get into all sorts of these things, too. The way the guy physically swings a golf club. He doesn't swing it. He muscles it. He muscles it. He's big and strong, and he plays from a closed position. That blade is pointing towards the sky. And to do that, you've got to do what? You've got to drive like hell with your lower body. Well, if you just shattered that, and you can't drive it anymore, now you've got serious problems because that toe is going to go over here once in a while and over there, and now it becomes. And I remember doing this a bunch when I got hurt. Do you have the ability, the maturity, to sit back and let everything get right? Or do you go out there early because you think you can do it, and you start forming habits that now compound the injury, and it just lengthens your tenure of bad golf?
Yeah. My cardinal rule is nobody has ever come back from an injury too late.
Yeah.
They always come back too early.
Always.
Wow.
And but you know, golf lends itself. These guys are out here, and you're trying to make a living. I remember how many times I got expenses at home. I got a wife, I got a child, I got to pay for this, I got to pay. I can't sit there and go, I'm not ready yet. You can't. Yeah. You gotta go earn a living. So that's why in golf, a lot of these guys that are not the top echelon get hurt, and they stay hurt because of the necessity of this game, which is the beautiful thing of this game. You play good, you get paid. You play bad, you don't get paid. So that's another. I'm getting really dark here, aren't I?
Let's go a little
You got
Lights.
You got some wine or something. I need to slow this whole roll down here.
Gary, Peter, one of the top players in the world that you guys both know really well, that's a member at your club at Wisbrook, Jon Rahm, is right there in second place. He's 4 shots back now. He was 2 shots back to start the 3rd round. He's at 9 under par. Tell us a little bit about Jon Rahm, what it's like, how he's playing right now. And I remember a story that Gary told me, gosh, I don't know if it was 7 years ago. He was at Arizona State, and I had just played Desert Forest, which is up there for the first time, and it's really hard, right? And I think the new course record with the new design was 69. And Jon Rahm and the ASU guys come up there, and Jon shoots 62. And you said, he's really good. He's going to be really, really good. Tell me a little bit about Rahm.
Well, I'll just give you a week ago. I had lunch with him at the Rock, and he just played our owner. And our owner's a really good player. He's a scratch, and he got 12 shots. And he lost 4 down. Rahm shot 63 at him, and he's playing the tips. The tips there, Peter, is 7,700 yards.
Wow.
He is one of the most competitive individuals I've ever met in my life. And I think, Peter, it's great to see these 2 guys at the top, because the other kids the same way. They're big, they're strong, they're nasty, they're bullies when they play golf. And it's going to be fun to see who acquiesces to the other one. This is going to be fun tomorrow. 27 holes. We're going to see a lot of golf, a lot of big grown men hitting it hard and trying to basically outgut the other guy.
And the other thing I like about both Brooks and Jon Rahm, they swing their swing, and they don't give a good what anybody thinks about their golf swing. They don't worry about the aesthetics of the golf swing.
Lengthening the backswing.
No, they don't care about any of that stuff. Jon Rahm was born with a club foot.
Very good. Let's go through that.
And so they had to break it when he was a child and reset it, and that is the defining yardstick of why his golf swing is the way it is. And so it's a lesson for all of you at home out there, is that you have to devise yourself a swing, or your coach, teacher has to devise a swing based on the body that you've got and what you're willing to do with it, what you're able to do with it. That's what Jon Rahm's done. Yep. Because he turns his right foot in a little bit, it restricts his hip turn. That in turn restricts a little bit more of the shoulder turn. He gets as full a turn as you could possibly get given that. And then he keeps his swing in front of him, which means it's going to be short. And then he's got big old strong legs, and he just fires the crap out of them.
Jack Nicklaus of old.
And so he creates speed from a very quick transition and a very fast acceleration. Other people like Fred Couples or Ben Crenshaw, or they go long and languid, and they create their speed because of a long arc, right? That's not Jon. And Jon's never going to try and do that. He knows who he is. He knows what limitations he has. And to me, when you go to major championships, you got to own your swing. It goes back to the Greg Norman thing. Greg Norman was trying to work on a grip change, whatever. It didn't last through Sunday. And Brooks Koepka, healthy. Jon Rahm, healthy and swinging well. They own their swings. They know what they're going to do, and they know how it's going to react under pressure. It's going to be spectacular for me to watch this tomorrow. It may come down to a good break or a bad break, or a good bounce or a bad bounce here or there, or a couple putts made or missed. But I think it's going to be an epic battle tomorrow.
They should be great. One of the stories with a non-professional, amateur Sam Bennett shot incredibly well, 68, 8 under. He's now at 6 under, but he's in 3rd place, 5th-year senior at Texas A&M. What do you guys see in the way Sam Bennett's been playing? How surprising is that? And maybe, Gary, talk to me about what you think emotionally he's been going through. You know, there's a lot been written about his father and his tattoo. Don't wait to do something has on his arm. And then, Peter, maybe you can talk a little bit about his swing.
Well, the interesting thing is the naivete of a 23-year-old 5th-year student in college, and he didn't know who Bobby Jones was.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, he didn't know. You said you're going to break the record to Ken Venturi. Who's that?
Who's that?
He had no idea. So when I'm trying to explain something like that, I mean, my youngest granddaughter is 28. My granddaughter, I know nothing about 20-year-olds. Okay, zero. But he's in his own little world. He's got his boys, and they're drinking beers, and they're probably playing video games, and he's, you know, real near the lead in the Masters, and what he does is something I would never be used to. I mean, he literally has no idea of where he is and why he's there, but he is sure making the most of it. And maybe that's the way you do it, because with another guy, Rory McIlroy knows exactly where he is, and he can't function. He can't get the Masters win. He can't get the Grand Slam. And I've never seen a guy, Peter, he's been playing so well. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And he comes here, and it's like he develops, you know, the stutters, and he can't go forward. He can't pursue. He can't do it. So on one side, you've got Sam, who, hey, where are we? What are we doing? I'm playing good. To hell with everybody else here. And then the other guys go, oh my God, I'm here at Augusta, and I got the Masters, and I got to win this, win the Grand Slam. Whenever I can do this, I'm playing the best I can. And you get talking real fast like I am, and pretty soon you get very confused.
You know, I got a couple points about Sam Bennett. One, in terms of his golf swing, it's really a lot like Joaquin Niemann.
Yes, it is.
I mean, he's got it hurts for me to watch his side bend.
My oblique just got right there.
By the way, Joaquin Niemann, another live golfer in the top 10, along with Mickelson and, of course, the leader,
well.
Koepka.
Yeah,
they're doing pretty well. Yeah.
But, I mean, his side bend is like, all right, I don't know when he fills out and grows up and gets stronger if that's going to last or it's going to modify. I happen to think it's probably going to modify a little bit. But he swings his swing. He knows what he's doing, right?
Yep.
My fear, and I'm not predicting this, don't call me a Sam Bennett hater, because I'm not, but whatever. But he talked about the fact that he wasn't, when asked the question, you know, how will you approach Saturday? It's just like any other round. I won't be nervous. You know, I know what I have to do, and I'll just go do my best to do it and whatever. And I had flashbacks. I had flashbacks to Bobby Clampett years ago in the Open, the British Open, as we call it, the Open. And he was a devotee of the golf machine.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was his golf swing a long time ago. And when asked that question in the press room after, I don't know how big a lead he had after 36 holes. It was like 6 shots or something. I don't know. It was big, whatever. And his answer was, and not verbatim, but he goes, my golf swing is a machine, and machines don't know emotion, and I'll be fine. Nothing will happen. Yeah. And he shot, what did he shoot, 80 or something like that that day? Yeah. And it really crippled his career from that point on, because he was masterful. I mean, he was an unbelievable collegiate player, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that it was kind of a little bit of misspeaking for Sam, and not the fact that he thinks he's never going to get nervous, because I can guarantee you that walking up to the first tee at Augusta National in the last group is something that he's never experienced before. And when you don't experience things before, you know, you don't know whether it's fight or flight. You don't know what's going to happen under that stress. And hopefully things go well for him, because I think he has a tremendous future.
Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, he bogeyed the first 2 holes and then kind of righted the ship with pars. And he played with the number 1, number 5 player in the world, Scotty Scheffler, and Max Homa, and held up pretty darn well, beat both of them. Hey, let's go back to where you guys wanted to go. Tiger Woods. He looks like his legs really struggling right now. What do you guys think? I mean, these conditions with how hilly Augusta National is and how cold and wet it is. What do you see in Tiger, maybe about his swing and what he's doing here at the Masters?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, you knew once they stopped that some guys are going to have to play a lot of holes. And 18 holes there is hard to walk when it's nice out. Now, he got stuck in the wrong side, and he had to play, he had to get up this morning. He was there before dark, trying to get his second round in so he could proceed from there. And I saw him at the end when it was raining like heck. We saw it on, what did we see on Peter, on Twitter or something?
17th hole.
And he couldn't even walk. I mean, he literally couldn't.
It's the worst. It's the worst I've seen him since the accident. Yeah.
So I'm, you know, you're in last place. You're Tiger Woods. You can't walk 30 holes tomorrow, whatever he's got to finish. I don't know why in the world he would continue. It's not going to do anybody any good. That's for sure. So you know, it's Tiger Woods. You know, go rest. That looked painful. That looked bad. He tried to pick the ball out of the hole. I didn't think he'd get down to get the ball out of the hole.
Yeah, and I think, look, I want nothing but the best for him. I think his short-term goal coming into this week was to continue his 22-year made cut streak as a professional.
Okay.
He did that, albeit with a little help from his friends, but he still shot 3 over and he made the cut. And so his streak continues, and it lives for another year. Now, as much as he is in last place, the weather and the cold, everybody talks about his leg, which is critically important, and he's still trying to recover from that. But let's not forget about the fuse back.
Yeah.
And these conditions. And when you add it all up, what I don't want to have happen is for him to be stubborn and try to play through this and injure himself. I think that would be really criminal. So I don't look for him to tee it up tomorrow. I look for him to withdraw, and there's no loss of pride in that. In fact, I think it shows a level of comprehension and intelligence that hopefully he has, and you know, live to fight another day.
Yeah, I mean, if he's 2 or 3 under and he can see the leader from there, and you've got a shot at it where
and it's 80 degrees,
and it's 80 degrees, I can see. Come on, we can do this. But man, not with the weather forecast, not with the amount of holes he's got to play. Because you've got to remember, he literally to do what he's doing, to get up, he's got to get up at, for the starting time he had today. What they tee up at 7:30?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay, so he's probably up at 3:30 or 4, trying to get that body ready. Yeah.
And he looked good for those.
He did.
He looked good for those holes that he played.
Walking along fine, but it just, as we've seen before, it gets worse and worse and worse. Over 18 holes. We're not talking about 44 degrees when he teed off, and rain, and trying to walk that golf, and knowing you've got to plow through 27 holes today, which they didn't get to.
He's got 27, 28 holes tomorrow to finish. I just don't see it happening.
No.
This is Peter Kostis and Gary McCord. This is Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers, our live stream of the Masters. Thanks so much for watching. Please share this with anybody else. We're going to be here for a while. We're going to be talking more Masters, and we've done 4 episodes so far on our video podcast on our YouTube channel. You can see them below there, and there's also a link to enter to win a giveaway. And like, subscribe, share, but we're going to do a giveaway, fellas. I'd like, Peter, if you'll hold up, we have an Eagle Eye rangefinder right there. It's a really nice rangefinder. Show the camera.
There you go.
Eagle Eye's rangefinder, super nice, great little product, great rangefinder. All you need to do.
You're going to take that?
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was just the box. There's something in there. I'll see you later. Okay.
So the Eagle Eye rangefinder, all you need to do is go to the link below, put in your email address. We'll notify you if you've won. We're going to give away a lot of prizes here over the next hour or so, and we're going to talk about. And please send in any questions you have for these two guys, for Peter and Gary. They'll be happy to answer them. Peter's going to get into the Foresight Sports Simulator back behind me and give us some tips and some lessons. But something we do on our video podcast after we give away the Eagle Eye, something we do on our video podcast, we have a little segment. One of our segments is called Story Time, and these guys have enough stories for 20 years that we can talk about. And there's some great ones already up on our YouTube channel. And you can go to Spotify or iHeartRadio and hear the audio version. But one of the segments we have is called Point Counterpoint. And the guys usually have a little argument or a little friendly debate, if you will. Peter and I talked about this yesterday. And we've been seeing more and more the PGA Tour miking players. And Peter, tell me about your surprise when you saw Rory McIlroy being mic'd at the Masters.
Before I do that, this says accurate to 1,000 yards.
How about that?
Or 5 of Gary's tee shots. So we just bada boom.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get the point counterpoint going. Yeah. Okay. All right. You know what? I was flabbergasted. Now this made me. I'm just an old guy stuck in my ways or whatever. I think that the walk and talk interviews in the regular tour events so far this year have been wonderful. Could have done maybe with some better questions in a couple of them, but I think it's really good. It's good insight into what's going on with the player. I was flabbergasted that Rory did it on Thursday in the Masters. This is the one tournament that he needs to complete the Grand Slam. This is the most important event in his golf career at this moment until he wins it, right? The Masters has this level of gravitas and import that you can't bring cell phones in. You don't have a driving range. You have a tournament practice facility. I mean, it's all of this stuff, whatever. And bingo, you got an AirPod in your ear while you're walking down the 9th hole. I couldn't believe it, right? Now, I am all for miking players or miking caddies and eavesdropping on what they're doing, but I don't think in a major that it's a good idea to interject a question or a thought that might derail them from what they're doing right now. I mean, Rory missed the cut. Max Homa went sideways or backwards a little bit after he did his walk and talk. And this morning, Justin Thomas did it, and he missed the cut. So I'm not going to blame it on that, but I just think it detracts a little bit from the aura of the Masters. Your counterpoint.
Jane, you ignorant slut. It's real
You got to
simple.
explain that one because these people didn't.
Saturday Night Live, 100 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd. Okay, this is pretty simple. You don't have to do it. Say no.
I'll believe in it when Tiger does it. How's that?
He's not going to do it.
Okay.
He's going to say no. So you go through the list of guys that now, obviously, you've tried to develop a curse with this thing. That if you you're going to go right to your car and call the airlines and go.
Guys won earlier
home.
this year after having done it. So I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about the Masters.
The Masters. But the Masters is actually trying to. I mean, when you were there, they didn't even allow you on the golf course. You could not follow a group.
No.
Okay?
No.
And remember, they only showed the back 9 for a long time. So they are slowly, a southern crawl, trying to get more media savvy. And this is the fastest way to do it, is to, Thursday and Friday, if you want to do it, fine. You don't have to do it. Saturday and Sunday, I would find it hardly doubtful.
Today was Saturday, right?
Yeah. Were they doing today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This morning, Justin Thomas did it.
Somebody said yes then, so that's good. You can say yes or you can say no. But bottom line, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. I want to know what these guys are thinking about. I think it's a great asset. In fact, we've talked about this a bunch. I think every guy should be mic'd and mic their caddies. And let's go and have a free-for-all conversation.
I agree 10,000% with the miking of players and miking of caddies. I think, and you know what? If somebody says a bad word, the hell with it. You mean you don't ever use a bad word when you play golf?
Me? Never.
No, yeah, okay.
What? What? You say I have some problems? I do have some problems. I said earlier all my problems.
Yeah.
I got it all out of the way.
But I just think that miking them and eavesdropping is awesome. Getting them to answer questions, hit shots with an AirPod in their ears that they never had
Now,
for the other hosts.
I want to tell you what. I will agree with this. I would be choking my guts out.
I'm winning.
I'm choking my guts out if I've got a 4-iron over water And I'm over that ball thinking, if I hit this in the water, I got to talk to these idiots after I hit this shot.
You're getting dark again.
I'm getting dark again because it's not. As you notice, it's not a good shot. It's a bad shot. But I would be complicated in my procedure if I knew that I had to talk to them after I hit this shot. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd lay it up.
Other people might say, imagine how cool it's going to be to talk to these guys after I hold this.
Yeah, you saw my career. That's not in the conversation. Anyway, I disagree. I think you can sooner or later they might all say no, and then you haven't got a problem. So if you can say no, yes, okay, fine, and get the guys that want to do it and let them do it. And it helps, I think, the telecast because, as you know, these things can get very, very redundant. And very, very banal. Oh,
banal.
That's a great word. That's a great word.
You
Look
inspire
that up.
me.
Banal. B-A-N-A-L. Banal.
You inspire me. For
Thank
more
you.
of this stimulating repartee, you can go to Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers. Just subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can hear us, our podcast, and send us any questions. We're going to answer some questions later on in today's show. Unfortunately, Peter and Gary aren't going to be talking about live action at the Masters because there isn't any. We're on a rain delay. But Peter, can you give us maybe a little tip in the Foresight Simulator on how these players are controlling and figuring out their distances in this terrible weather?
Sure, I'd be glad to. You know, in these conditions, the key for these players is awareness and adjustment. You got to be aware of what's going on, what's happening with the rain, the wind, the temperature, and you have to be able to make the correct adjustments on the fly. That's what's really critical in conditions like this. And this is where technology has really helped these players do this. I've got my simulator set up, so the conditions here are the conditions right now in Augusta. High 40s, medium rain. I'm hitting into a 15-mile-an-hour wind, and it's cold. On my quad, I've got standard 72 degrees sea level conditions. So let's take a look, just for starters, at the difference in how far the ball goes on a given shot. So I'm just going to make a comfortable little golf swing here. Now, that ball that I just hit, in normal conditions, went 138 yards in the air. That's what my quad says it went. Just airtime. Now, look at that, 116 carry into the wind, in the cold, and in the rain. So there's a huge difference. And it used to be players would guess at this from experience and whatnot. But now, one of the reasons why you see so many players with launch monitors on the driving range as they're warming up, they're getting numbers. And they're able to calculate, okay, right now these conditions are a club and a half hurt, or a club help, or whatever the conditions might be. But using a simulator, so now I hit that one 145. You're going to get an idea of what's going to happen. It'll pop up here in a second. 119, so 145 down to 120. That's a huge difference. And they're able also to regulate the spin on the golf ball. That had 6,600 backspin, because one of the conditions that they have to talk about and think about this week, do I want to spin this? Do I want to not spin this? And with the pins cut high on knobs, generally speaking, you don't want to spin it because you're going to spin it off the knob down into the low areas. So these players, when they're warming up, they're going to be able to get a feel, at least in their warm-up, of what kind of swing they want to make and what kind of conditions they're going to face. So I turned that one over. It should be a little bit less spin. And that ball went 124 yards. And look, only 5,000 RPM of spin or backspin. So the players, when they start to decide whether they're going to spin it or not spin it, they can be dead-handed. They can turn it over to reduce a little bit of the spin. They can work under it to get a little bit more spin. So pay attention as tomorrow comes around to watch what the players do in terms of making the adjustments after they observe what conditions are. Awareness, adjustment, absolute keys to playing in these conditions.
Was a great tip from Peter on awareness and adjustments that need to be made for these golfers and even for us. We're going to go away quickly to a little commercial from our sponsor, Swing U. Here's a little tip from Swing U on how to improve your game as well.
Strokes gain stats are finally easy with the most 5-star rated golf app in the country. Swing U accurately and objectively provides feedback across driving, approach shots, chipping and pitching, bunker play, and putting. Easily identify your strengths and weaknesses, and laser focus your practice time so you can quickly shave strokes off your score. Download Swing U and start owning your game today.
We're going to get Peter back up there again to give us a little tip on a simpler way to learn how to flight our wedges. Very important at the Masters, in rainy weather, in windy weather. Peter's going to show us a great way to do it.
One of the most critical shots that these players are facing in these conditions is their ability to flight their wedges. By that I mean to get the trajectory and the spin rate that they want to be able to attack a certain hole location. Now, there's lots of different ways of knocking down a wedge, flighting it down. My preference is very simple. I'm going to make a normal wedge swing. This is my gap wedge. And let's look at the apex of this flight. "72 feet. That's how high I hit it. Now, if I want to hit it lower, you can put the ball back, you can try to close the blade coming through. That gets a bit complicated and I can't use my normal golf swing. So what I like to do is choke down. And the amount that I choke down and the amount that I move closer to the golf ball will dictate my trajectory. So as I move down the grip and in closer, this should read out a little bit lower. "58 feet. So with practice and learning how to choke down on the club, especially into the wind, this can really help. I'm going to go all the way down almost to the steel now. Still make my full swing.
I got it.
47 feet. So with practice, if you learn to choke down on your grip, move in closer, keep the ball position standard, and make your normal swing, you're going to be able to flight your wedges, control the trajectory, control the spin, and become a much better wedge player.
And we're back, our live stream from the Masters. Kostis and McCord off their rockers. Mike Abram here with you. Producer, we are in Scottsdale, Arizona. Remember, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share it with all your friends who love golf. And if you haven't watched it, we've got 4 episodes on there. We'll be adding more. Myself and the guys were just at a beautiful resort in Nemacolin Woodlands Resort, about an hour and a half southwest of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 2,200 acres, 2 Pete Dye courses. Some great hospitality, great food. It was super fun to be there. And we've got some more stuff to give away. Let's do first, Gary. Show me that Bazooka Joe. Did you chew Bazooka bubblegum back when you were a kid? Big wads of it?
12-inch diameter on blue ones.
Did you really? Tell us the story about that. We've got a great head cover from CMC Design. They have custom head covers, some really cool stuff. They do some great charity work too. But CMC Design, you can win this. You can enter to win, free giveaway. Just sign below. Send us your email below. It's in the comment section. go online, send the email, and we'll notify you if you win. We'll send you an email. But Gary, tell me about your Bazooka bubblegum experience and that cool Bazooka Joe head cover.
If in the early days, I learned that if you could do something extraordinary, you could gamble on it, right? And again, what I did learn is when you ever meet someone who says I can do something, pretty much sure they can do it. Okay, so the idea was to blow the biggest bubble and then measure it. And I learned basically 3 bazookas, okay, in your mouth, chew it, get it malleable, and then you get your tongue out and you start making it thin. All around, thin, and you work it, you get it thin, you got a lot, and then you start blowing it, and you get it really thin, and you get it really big. And I got one that was 12 inches across. That was the record, and it was good. It got all over my face. If I'd have had this stupid thing, this mustache then, it would still be in there, just trying to get it out.
Did you win some money doing that at least?
Yeah, first of all, when you're young, you only hang around in the right certain neighborhood with certain kids, so they all knew I could do it after a while. But this is cool. This is a bazooka. Oh, look at this. See? Look at this. See, Bona, that's a good one there. That's a good one. 3 of them. Get your tongue in there and get it really thin.
So people have tuned in to get an insight into the Masters and the telecasts and the players and whatever, and you've just taught them how to blow a bubble gum.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea is to really get it thin before you say, and then slowly go out, keep it going. And he's done it. He's done it right there. That's it, bazooka.
So enter for a chance to win Bazooka Joe head cover from CMC Design, cmcdesign.com. They've got some really cool stuff. Hey guys, what we were gonna do, as you were saying, people were tuning in to watch the Masters. We've got the play suspended earlier today, 3rd round that we're watching. Of course, Brooks Koepka in the lead, 13 under par, and Jon Rahm in 2nd place behind him, 9 under, and the amateur Sam Bennett, he's at 6 under, 2 over today. But guys, 4 of the key holes, Peter and Gary, 12, 13, 15, and 16, a couple par 3s, a couple par 5s in there. Gary, can you start out and take us through, as you would do back in the day, take us through hole number 12.
As an announcer?
Yes, please. Can you put on, and remember, because
this was a long time ago.
I know, it's a long time ago. Because it is Kostis McCord Off Their Rockers, we have no rules, we have no filters. You don't have to call them patrons. You can call anybody anything you want. And now,
call anybody anything you want.
To tell us about hole 12, friends, Gary McCord.
12th hole today, playing 157 yards. Been today cut in the extreme right portion of this green. And as you know, the players are baffled by the precarious winds that blow to and fro Raised Creek, trying to figure out the tops of the trees and look over at the flag on 11. If you can figure that all out, you can get up and hit a bold shot, never go at the pin, go between the 2 bunkers in the middle of the green and hope to God you get it over Raised Creek. Now let's go to you, Jim Nance, on 18.
Well, let's go to Peter Kostis, hole 13, Azalea.
Let's stay with 12 for a second.
Okay.
What makes 12 such a good hole, in your opinion?
Because it is one of the holes on the back 9 that you can go south. You can lose the tournament right there. The other one, there's a bailout, and the other one's 11, the hole before. So they're going to hit the tee shot, they're going to bail out to the right. The worst they're going to make is a bogey. This hole, as we've seen, you can make anything if your ego gets in the way and you start shooting at pins. So I think it's the one hole before 2 par 5s coming up. We got a free rain coming in. Not really any tough holes. Just go get your birdies. This is it. This is the Pirates plank just before you think you're going to get shoved into the ocean. That's that hole.
See, for me, having been there a few years more recently than you,
remember, you got fired too. Okay, all right. Don't think you're the Lone Ranger on this deal.
Okay, but the 12th hole, there's only 2 components to a golf shot: distance and direction, right? And so many shots only require you to be accurate with one of those things. Mm-hmm. You got to hit it 300 to carry that bunker. Okay, but you got 50 yards wide. or you got to hit it 121 over here. Golden Bell, as it's called, you have to do both. You can't just bail out with distance control or directional control. You have to pick a line and you have to pick a distance and you have to hit both. And that's what happens like on Sunday when the pin's back right. You're supposed to aim over those two bunkers, but your ego gets in the way. And then you start to try and fan it a little bit, and you open the blade up, and it goes a little bit shorter because the blade's opening up, and you don't carry the water, and you roll back in and whatnot. Architecturally, it's almost a perfect hole because you have to control distance and direction simultaneously. You can't get away with blowing one of those two. Secondarily, over the years, and I think the changes on 13 that we're going to get to in a second, the winds around that hole have changed over the years. The trees are bigger. They put new trees in on 13, and the way the wind used to swirl 20 years ago, it doesn't swirl that way now. And it's a hole that demands, I think, really, really perceptive analysis on the spot. And you better pick a club, you better pick a landing spot, and you better pick a time, and you better have all three right if you're going to play.
Can you imagine today? I wanted to watch that so bad. In the rain, and this afternoon there was supposed to be 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts. How in the hell would you play that hole with a 20 to 30 mile an hour gust? Because as you said, there's nowhere to bail out. You might want to chip it short of Rays Creek and then over and get your bogey and get out of there if it's blowing that hard.
I mean, you've got to stay over those bunkers. So if you come up short, you're in the bunker. If you go long, you're in the bunker.
And where it is on the golf course too is perfect. It is just before you get 13 and 15 par fives these guys eat up. So you're just going, just get through this, just get through this, just get through it. I just got to par this hole and then I can go. And in that excitement comes some really bad shots.
Did you remember, do you know the story that number 12 was originally number 3 at Augusta?
No, did not know
10 was number 1.
And 10,
the dog leg left down the hill.
The hole was down by that first bunker in the middle, right?
The green was right to the right of that Mackenzie bunker, they call it. And then 11 was 2, and 12 was 3, and that's the lowest part of the golf course. And so in the wintertime, when they had frost delays, no one could play.
Oh, okay.
And so they figured out that if we go off on 10, which is now 1, and by the time we come around to 12, frost is gone and whatnot. And now, can you imagine what the Masters would be like finishing on 5, 6,
10,
7,
11,
8?
and 12, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And then starting on 10, 11, and 12.
It's one of the greatest mistakes in the history of golf.
Yeah, it turned out perfect because the back nine is full of nonsense.
Yeah.
It is just chaotic on the back nine.
And speaking of chaos, 13th hole, I was there for 10 years, 11 years, whatever. And now they decided to lengthen it a little bit.
From what was it? They lengthened it 35 yards from 505 to 540,
something like that. It was 485 for a while, then it became 5.
Little over 515
or something like that, and now whatever it is, it's
back to you. I think it's 545 from the tips, but I don't know where they're we don't know where they're playing it.
Yeah. So I think it's made the tee shot easier, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because now you can pick out the pine tree in the distance and just hit it, and it'd be hard pressed to get it up into the pine straw. Before, if you picked a line and didn't turn it, you could hit it up in the pine straw. That's Mickelson's famous 6-iron or whatever he hit from the straw. And so, but by moving the tee back, now they've moved the tee shot to the right a little bit more. It's harder to turn the corner. It's harder to get it down the flat. It's damn near impossible to get it down the flat now. So now what you have is more of these old stances where the ball's up around kneecap high.
Right about there, about belt high, trying to hit a 3-iron or 4-iron to that green, and you've got a biasly positioned Rays Creek right in front of it. So if you slide and hang, you're gonna go in the creek there. And if you hit a duck hook, you're up in the azaleas over the bunkers where you can't.
People are surprised when they hear players in their interviews earlier this week saying, if I got more than a 5-iron, I'm probably going to lay up. And what people don't realize is it's not the old 5-iron that they, because it's on a side hill lie, and you got to pick your poison. Are you going to aim right and hope you pull it off the slope back to the green? Are you going to aim straight and try to hold off your swing? And doing that with a 4-iron or a 3-iron or 5-wood, you know, it's a different proposition.
I saw Tony hit it earlier in the show with that driving iron he's got.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? That thing goes about 260, and he's there on the side of the hill. I said, where's he going to hit this? You can't hit on the green. It's going to bounce over, and if you pull, it's up in the azaleas.
I mean, can you show us in your Foresight simulator what that look and feel and what the players, and maybe it might help us understand how to hit this shot, or what these guys are dealing with on how to hit the shot above their feet.
Well, I've got an aiming device here. And let's go with a 4-iron. So Gary, you know, if I've got this 4-iron and it's pointed right at you,
Yep.
you can see it's flat,
Yep.
level lie.
Yep.
Now, as I move this up on the slope, what happens to the aim of my club?
It's over
right?
this way, yeah.
So players are going from a flat lie to something up around here. Now, depending on the club you're using, the face is going to be looking 15 to 20 degrees left of your aim. So you got a couple of choices. You either have to hold it off hard and keep the blade open in order to get it starting straight, or you got to aim enough to the right that when you make your normal swing, the slope and the loft of the club will pull it back to the left. And if you don't pull it off just right, now you're looking at the same thing in reverse of 12, right? You got to pick your line and you got to pick your distance.
And I mean, what we were talking about there, we're also talking about, we're not talking about 85 degrees and no rain. So you're standing on the side of the hill with 90% of these guys probably are spikeless or have spikeless golf shoes or spiked
Soft
golf
shoes,
shoes. Soft spikes. I don't know 10 guys that have steel. So you're starting to shuffle around there on the side of the hill when it's wet, trying to hold on. It's good luck if you don't fall down. If it was Scheffler, he might fall down.
Yeah.
With all the movement he's got in his feet.
And so, I mean, in a lot of ways, they've turned 13 into a 60-yard par 3.
Right. But, I mean, again, Peter, it's like the way it used to be. Back when we were playing wood and Balata off the tee, you're standing there on the side of the hill thinking the same thing. Remember Curtis Strange when he was trying to hit that 5-wood, and Curtis loves to slide towards the target, and he just kept screwing that up all the time. But that's the way they used to play it. All they're trying to do is get it back to where it was, so these guys are not hitting 9-irons into that hole like they were.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in conditions like this,
you're on a skateboard.
Well, you know, like 18, and there's a lot of holes out there that you need a forward tee.
And remember, when we're doing television, when you first get there, you had no clue how hilly it was. None. Because TV is a two-dimensional sport, right? You see it that way. You don't see the big, huge valleys and the hills on that golf course. It's a hard walk and a hard golf course to get a good stance and a good grip on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, the guys that are sitting back there, I'm going to say they got the club head about right there.
Yep.
Just a little bit below kneecap height.
Yep.
And now your swing plan is going to go around here and come in here, and you got to decide what you're going to do, and you better commit to it. So that's my take on 13 is that they've brought back not only the distance they've added, but they've brought back the side hill lie.
Yeah.
Which when guys were driving it around the corner, they were actually getting it down in a fairly flat position, so that second shot wasn't as complicated as it is now.
Hey guys, this brings up something that we talked about on an earlier episode of our video podcast. I believe it's episode 3. We had Gene Parenti from Golf Laboratories on, and we talked about the proposed ball rollback from the RNA and the USGA. And one of those things, so you don't have to keep buying more property, extending the course back.
They can afford it.
Pardon me?
They can afford it.
They can afford it. Yeah, there's one person who can afford it, but for regular golf, that's got to be pretty tough. Hey, I just want to say congratulations to our first winner. It was Big Jim K won the rangefinder. So thanks for entering Big Jim.
That exact one, or we have a couple of them?
One. Well,
Really?
We got a couple, but that's that.
Oh, we do?
exact
I have a
one.
couple.
Why do you want to?
I'm going to stuff those in my stuff bag over here. Yeah. Are you kidding?
And we'll let you know who won the Bazooka head cover as we go. Again, thanks for everybody watching, and remember, subscribe, share, like the YouTube channel. Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers. There's 4 episodes up. Another one will go up next week. You'll be able to watch all this great stuff. A lot of not only stories, but great tips from Peter Kostis, one of the great teachers, legends in the game. Not just from the, can I say it, Konica Minolta BizHub Swing Vision camera.
Don't let me say it.
You're not going to do it.
No, I tried it once. It didn't work.
Yeah, but Peter, he's in our show. Peter's helping you, the average golfer, me. Guys play better, girls play better, find your game and help your game, not just what the tour pros are doing. Peter, you want to take us through that second par 5 in that string, hole 15, Firethorn?
Firethorn, yeah, they've added some yardage to that hole as well over the last few years. And again, it's a hole that is really, for me, it's really exciting because it is reachable in reasonable weather conditions, and the players have to make a commitment. You got to get it high enough so that the landing trajectory is steep enough that you don't just carry flat and bounce over and go back. You can go in the water on 16, right? But again, there's no variability in how far they can play the tee markers back or forward. There's only a set of tees that are roughly, 7,600 yards, the tournament tees, and then the member tees that are 6,300 yards. I mean, I think the golf course would...
difference? Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. And I think the golf course would be even more interesting if they added another set of tees that gave them a little bit more flexibility in how they set it up. Because if you have to lay up, it is one of the most difficult third shots in golf. 2019, I'm sitting in the tower at 15. Francesco Molinari was a little careless with his layup, and he went over into the first cut on the left-hand side, and the ball was sitting up just a little bit, and he kind of drop-kicked it a little bit and got it high on the face, and the ball came out on a much higher trajectory than what he wanted and hit a pine cone. And the ball falls down in the middle of the lake, and Tiger Woods takes the lead, and the rest is history, right?
Wow.
But that's a shot that you really want to hit up in the air. Again, softly, don't have to spin it too much and just let gravity help you. But you're on such a downhill that you can't do it. If you try to and you fall back, you can drop kick it or blade it in the water. And it's you have to be really, really particular with your layup on that hole.
And
Can't wait for this.
diabolical as these guys at Augusta. Listen to this. So when they mow a fairway, they use a V pattern, much like geese. Okay, you put a guy in the front, and I think they mow them with 20-something mowers at the same time in a V pattern going. Okay, now on 15, they start from the lake and they go that way. So they're brushing and rolling forward. So now your second shot, if you lay up, is on a little downhill on precisely cut bent grass that's going against you. And if you just hit it a micro fragment fat, it goes in the water. And then, to add the fun, they mow over the green, they mow it down to the lake on 17, so they flatten the green. So if you hit it over, whee, it goes like a thing. And then if you're lucky enough to stop it, you're chipping again against that stuff. And you get that leading edge in that bent grass that's laying against you. It won't go. It'll just go like that and go on the ground. And if you hit it a little bit fat, you look like an idiot. And and that's how they fit the golf course. They've got this thing figured out beyond comprehension.
Yeah, they actually...
In a deviant behavior.
Yes. And only a deviant can pick up on that.
Yes.
But okay. A few years ago, they started mowing all the fairways from green to tee.
Yes. Slow the ball down.
Yeah, from green to tee.
It's against the grain, so the ball doesn't roll
because
out.
they wanted to take some of the distance they got out of rolling the ball out there. And yeah, it's those shots look pristine. It looks like it's sitting up on AstroTurf and whatnot, but it's not.
Well, we saw Jason Day yesterday. He's right there. He's right there. He gets on 15, has to lay it up because of the conditions, and went water, double bogey, 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 bogey. I think the last 3 holes, and he's still hanging around. But man, that ruins your whole day.
Yeah, he went 4 over the last 4 holes.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
it's
really tough.
and I was telling Peter too. We're watching this thing. In the old days, when Weisskopf took me out there to show me, he showed me how they took those loblolly pines. So there's the fairway, and it's going down like this. And he said, go to the inside, take a look up, and they trim all of the leaves on the inside.
All the branches.
On the branches, on the outside of those trees. So all the foliage is on the inside. They go like this. Who thinks of that stuff? Who thinks of that?
I started out on the 10th hole, and I was walking the 10th hole back then, trying to get my yardages and my keys so that when I'm in the tower, I can see where a player is relative to a certain tree, and I can have an idea of how far he has, because we weren't allowed spotters out there or any of that stuff. And I'm walking down, and I look up at these trees on the left-hand side of the fairway, and there's no branches on the outside.
Yeah.
And all the trees are growing this way.
Tunnel.
And so that's why when you're in the fairway and you think you got a clean shot, no, there's a tree hanging over, right? So they learned how to do that.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. It's stuff that you wouldn't think of normally. But
and that's the things we catch. Can you imagine the stuff we haven't caught? And I have a tendency not to catch everything.
Well, I was on the 10th hole one year, and the tower there's this concrete pillar that the tower fits on, right? And it just stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. And so I had a tree to my left. I'm looking up the fairway, and this big pine tree is to my left, right there by the tower. And I come back one year, and something's different. What is it? And I look, and that tree is over there. It's like 10 yards in front of my tower.
Same tree?
Yeah. And so we had our meeting, and I go, any changes on 10 this year? No, nothing. What? Did you change the tower? No. Okay. There used to be a tree just to my left, and now it's 10 yards in front of me. So something's happened. I think the back right portion of the green has been made bigger and flatter back there, and you move the tower back and whatever, and they go, oh, yeah, okay, you caught us. But don't mention it. You can't mention it. Okay. So it's
not going to say a word.
Everybody thinks they're coming back to the same golf course every year.
Right.
They're coming back to the same property, but it's never the same golf course. Like number 7 this year.
Yep.
Completely new green. Change the contours, and that tomorrow, assuming it's dry enough, it'll be that front right pin where they can make an eagle. But it's going to be different because the contours have changed, and that line of sight that you wanted to hit it 4 yards left and 5 yards past in order for it to roll down the fall line and get right there, it's not going to happen now.
Now, hold it now. So I want to become a member there.
Good luck.
I want to become a member. So when would I get to play it? It's always under construction, right?
It's always, they close the golf course a month after the tournament.
So I'm paying my dues there, and after I pay my initiation fee, and now they tell me I can't play?
You get a green jacket.
No, they wouldn't give me that, but
Well,
I mean...
as a member, right?
Huh?
Don't the members have green jackets? Yes.
Well, I'm just assuming they're not going to give me a membership. I'm just kind of
Is it May through September, something like that? I think it's closed. Yeah.
Hey, let's do another giveaway. We've got a great product. Peter, will you hold up? There's the cell phone holder from Fox Golf.
No cell phones at Augusta.
No. And we're going to throw in also, Peter, here you go. Show them this, the cell phone holder and a Kostis McCord
There you
hat.
go.
The guys are going to sign it for you.
Those are rare.
Please go down Fox Golf, cell phone holder, and one of the Kostis McCord hats. Yeah, we don't have that many of them. They'll sign it for you. Just go down below, put in your email address. You'll be entered to win this. We'll let you know who wins, and we'll send you an email and do that. We are also going to talk a little bit when we come back. We'll talk about, we'll have Gary, take us through hole number 16 on a very emotional journey through that little par 3.
I look emotional right now, don't I?
Our presenting sponsor of Kostis McCord Off Their Rockers is Swing You. Don't go away. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back on our live stream at the Masters. Stay tuned.
Strokes gain stats are finally easy with the most 5-star rated golf app in the country. Swing You accurately and objectively provides feedback across driving, approach shots, chipping and pitching, bunker play, and putting. Easily identify your strengths and weaknesses, and laser focus your practice time so you can quickly shave strokes off your score. Download Swing You and start owning your game today.
We're back. Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers, our live stream. No Masters to call. Maybe the guys will talk a little bit about what they're going to be showing here from round 3 before it got suspended. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. So we can at least, Gary, you can at least call a little bit of the Masters for the first time since 1994. Peter, what do you think? We should give them that opportunity?
Probably,
Sure.
probably not a good idea.
Gary, first, before we get going again, thanks again to our sponsor, Swing You. Thanks to Foresight Sports, their incredible sim in a box that Peter has right here, Quad Pro, GC3, all their great products. By the way, guys, I don't know if you saw that, but number 1 at the Masters, number 1 on the PGA Tour. I believe there was over 40 Quad Pros being used by tour players out of the 88 players at the Masters. And
60.
Oh, 60. Really? Oh, that's fantastic. And then it was a lot less than that from that other track thing down there. But, take us through.
That was a quick get
Take
right
us
there.
through your stirring rendition and description, if you can remember, of hole 16, Redbud.
I'll tell you a story about 16.
Sure.
I'm playing a practice round there, and I don't know how the hell I got on to practice. Did we used
We used to be able to play.
That's okay.
We
So
all played on the Sunday before.
Yes. Okay. So that was the reason I was playing with Mac O'Grady and Jody Mudd, and Mac's working with Jody and myself. I'm doing the broadcasting. So we're playing the golf course, and we're playing a little money game, nothing serious. Mac didn't play for much money. So we get to 16, and there's a few people down there and everything. And so we're going to go, and I'm on the tee first, and I'm ready to go. And I said, well, you kind of hit this short because the pin's on the left-hand side, and it goes right. And he goes, no, Mac says, you're not going to hit it there. I want you to hit back right up on that shelf. See if you can get the ball back there. That's the toughest pin placement. So okay. So I get up there and I go whack, and of course I pull hook it, and it gets on that shelf and goes in the hole. Made a first shot, made a hole in one. People are going nuts. Yeah, but I mean with the flag, it's 40 yards to the right over there. And everybody's going nuts. I go, no, that didn't count.
It was an imaginary flag. There was no flag.
Yeah, it could have been. But that was the first time I ever played the 16th hole. So yeah, that's kind of my career right there. Don't aim for it, it goes in. The 16th hole is not the hardest par 3 in the world. These guys have got it figured out when the pin's back left the last day. They just hit it kind of short on that hill and get it going down like that. And the bad thing is if you push it up to the right, now you got that putt that goes up and down and around. And well, remember Tiger's shot when he missed it left there, when the pin left, and he had that chip shot that CBS got where the ball disclosed itself as a Nike ball, and it rolled, and you got just a brief glimpse, and then it tumbled in. One of the great camera deals.
In your life,
have you ever seen anything like that? Vern Lundquist call. I think they're all glad it's not the 4th hole that's there on that at 235. I think they're very comfortable when you're choking your guts out trying to win with an 8 or 9 iron. A lot of these guys are hitting wedges into that hole now.
Wow.
It's 160, 62 or 63 in it on the left-hand side, and it's about 170 in the back right. Anyway, it's a nice hole to make 3 on. If you make 2, great. So it's gorgeous as it sits there in its eminence, and with the loblolly pines, and you can see the pond, and they're all kind of shining off that, and it's kind of nice and relaxing in the chaos.
Yeah, that right hole location today, round 3, and tomorrow morning, of course, we're at a suspension of play right now due to the weather, and we're watching a little golf. We're watching a little Sam Bennett here. That's on number 4, and he's hitting a metal wood there. How
Hybrid.
much different was the weather there?
It was playing 240 against it.
Man, you were just talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would not want to have to wind up on that towards the end of the round. And that hole's just, please, dear, get it on the green.
Find a way.
And that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so Peter, why don't you give me a little call here with Scotty Scheffler?
185 yards, and guys were hitting, Adam Scott had 185 yards. He hit a 3-iron.
3-iron.
That he normally carries 240.
Wow.
And he didn't get it to the front of the green. He had 185 to the front.
Okay.
And he hit 3-iron that he normally carries 240, and he couldn't get it to the front.
And again, that's what you talked about earlier. Well, these guys are taking their computers that measure everything about a golf ball as it's hit, and you can literally sit there and watch it. You put it down, you go, okay, under these conditions. I mean, it got so unbelievable technical. If you remember, Bryson DeChambeau if it was going to be a rainy condition that day, he had a spritzer bottle, and he's spritzing his golf ball just to look at the spin rate to see how much it would take off. In our day, when we played it, we had a spinny ball that we played with all the time with wooden clubs, and you just went out there and you kind of, first couple of holes, you kind of felt it and go, okay, is this a 1 club against the wind or a 2 club day? Yeah. And that was it. You just used that philosophy through the whole tournament, and this is much more precise now with equipment that's consistent with the way you hit a golf ball. So it does. You see all these. Literally everybody's out there when they're practicing. They're putting down some sort of radar mechanism, whatever make it is, and they're trying to figure out the exact numbers, spin rates, launch angles, everything. So it's, again, this game is from the old days to now, and the preciseness of the data that's used and how to use that data to best help you play better is infinitesimal.
No, it was fun for me. I programmed in 47 degrees in my simulator, 15-mile-an-hour wind into me, rain, medium to heavy. I plugged all that into my launch monitor, and then I kept my quad on standard here. Mm-hmm. And I hit a shot that carried 148 here, and it carried 118 in Augusta. So you try different clubs, and these guys are doing it on the range, and it's one of the reasons why when they get on the golf course, they're already prepared to make these decisions. Yeah. Because they've got it all figured out. They got notes in their yardage book. Yeah. And their 8-iron is going a club and a half short today, but their 4-iron is going 2 clubs short. They've got it all figured out.
I was just thinking that, and you could get the spritzer bottle out because the rain's coming down your golf ball too, right? Yeah. And as you and I used to do, we used to have our shoes were leather bottoms. Can you imagine coming out here and getting on your deal and spraying your shoes? Go ahead and give them a whack and see how much you twist all over the place, which would be those conditions.
I tweeted out today, I said, these conditions scream for the old 6mm metal spikes. Yeah. Yes. So you can still have some traction. Yeah. Because that grass cut that closely and being that wet is really slippery. Mm-hmm. And you're going to feel like you can't be aggressive with your footwork and your leg action, and that doesn't support your swing, and then boom, the ball goes left, and you wonder why.
And you take a guy like Scotty Shuffles, and out there, doing the dance that he does.
Did you just nickname him Scotty Shuffles?
I've called him that before, a few times, He just, right, he's always shuffling. It's always just and he can't like that at all.
I would think it would make you a little bit more technical, hesitant, a little tentative.
Yeah, I would spike him up, right? Call Randy up, his teacher. Randy, get him the spikes that long and set them in there, and see if he can. As we're watching it right now on television, it's fun. It really is fun to watch. Have you ever seen anybody? I know a couple of golfers that used to do what he does, which is take his right foot and bring it to the inside and shuffle it right up against his left one.
There's a ton.
Yeah.
Mark Kalkovicki did it when I was teaching him.
Yes.
Greg Norman did
now,
it.
Did you, hold it, did you tell Mark to do that, or is that the way he did it?
That was complete reaction.
Was it? Okay.
Back then, we knew the leg action that was required to not hook the ball.
Yep.
And when Mark would do it, and he would get going aggressively, and you'd see the right foot
Yep.
coming back. Bob Gilder did it back in the day.
Yep.
Greg Norman did it.
Yes, he did.
So there's a lot of guys that did it.
Billy Casper.
Billy Casper did it. It was an instinctive thing. Now it's you got force plates, and you got this and you got that, and guys are measuring, and then guys are actually teaching people to do it. I don't think anybody taught Scotty to do that.
No,
I think
there's no
that's
way.
been done since he was a
Right.
child.
Right.
And fortunately, they didn't teach it out of him. Hey, if you're liking these stories, if you're liking this golf analysis stuff that you haven't heard for years, Peter Kostis, Gary McCord, you can see tons, hours and hours of episodes, videos, great lessons from Coach Kostis, Peter telling some great stories, also Gary telling some great stories, and we're going to take a little story time here. But make sure to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel, Kostis and McCord. We're also, of course, on Twitter, Kostis McCord on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever the heck. We're going to be on TikTok soon, Gary. So we'll see
We're
what
on
happens there.
social media, aren't we?
We are on social media. Hey, we've got a prize from Bucket Golf, and it's a big darn box.
It's a big box. What is this?
Isn't that fun? Gary, you wanted to see the big box? This is a game that's played. It's a six-hole
Six-hole.
game, and you pitch balls into a bucket, right? You pitch balls into a bucket, and you can win this. Just
Wait a
sign
minute.
up. Yeah.
How can you get a bucket in there?
They're collapsible.
Very clever.
There, you're welcome.
Very clever.
Con
Okay.
mucho gusto.
got
So
a
we got
box?
Bucket Golf, great game. Just enter to win. You'll get signed up. We'll send you an email and let you know who wins. We'll send out also. We'll have the guys sign a couple more hats. They'll be available there for you today too. Hey guys, I want to ask you, as a golf fan, as a viewer, you guys were talking about being up in the towers, and I know Gary, you haven't been in the tower at Augusta for a long time. Peter has, but I saw earlier this morning your good buddy Ian Baker Finch. I know Ian really well. He was saying his tower was on 17, and someone had hit it way left. And they were going to hit over his tower. His tower was completely buttoned up. He couldn't see out of it. He said his teeth were chattering and freezing. Give me, maybe start with you, Peter. Give me a story about, and you usually walked the course, right? But tell me about a story about being up in a tower under some trying conditions for one of your CBS broadcasts.
Well, they never let me walk at Augusta. That never happened. And the tower for Ian at 17 is about 70 yards short of the green and to the player's right. Mm-hmm. So he actually can't see he's looking over toward 3 and 8 in that direction. Mm-hmm. He can't see the players coming up the fairway, and he can't see the green very well. He's got to call it off of his monitor, and so when you're in that position and it's that cold, they'll button everything up except for where the cameraman has to move the camera back and forth, right? In fact, today it was Scotty Scheffler. No, it wasn't Scotty Scheffler. It was Cameron Young, Cam Young, who hit his tee shot to the right on 17, played it into 15 fairway to the right, and then had to hit it over Ian's tower to the green. And he ended up making double.
You know how far he had?
120 yards, something like that.
123 yards for his third shot over it, and he ended up making a double coming up short. But it was, I remember that you started mentioning the tower, and you were there. I don't know what hole you were on. The year at Firestone, when Jose Maria, I lost my ball, won by 12, right?
Hitting his one iron.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm up in the tower, and I'm on 15, par 3. Okay, we've been up there all day. We got those, those days you had the folding chairs. During the night, folding chairs you can buy at Walmart for $1.50. Boy, they hurt. So we're up there. I think we had about a 7-hour day. We had a delay and everything else. We're sitting up there, and so Jose and the whole gallery, they were on the par 3. And he hit his tee shot up there, and we went to a commercial break. And I'm sitting up there, I've been sitting that thing all day. So I get up and I start doing some announcer stretches, which is kind of one of these and one of those and a couple of these. And I look at the monitor and I'm on it doing these stretches. And I look over at my cameraman, he's sitting over here having a beer, right? He's not anywhere near the camera and the camera's pointing out that way. And now, when you're on the thing and how are they doing this? And you move something real fast to see if the monitor, and I went like that, my hand went like that. Oh, okay, what the hell's going on? So I'm looking around and those little bastards that had the cameras, the handheld minis, that hide down in the trees and get you picking your nose or something and put it during a commercial break. So I'm looking for those little gnomes down there and I don't see them. But all of a sudden here, and I look up, and there's the Goodyear blimp. And Bob, the cameraman, he's got you literally could see a flea on a rear end of a cat, okay, with this thing. And he is filming me up there doing my deals. That's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
So
you're a public figure.
I looked around now, and I don't know how many people I had, 10,000 people below it following last group. Okay, they want to do that. So I get in the middle where they can't really see me, and I pull my pants down, and I moon the blimp. I gave it the old ha like that, held it for 5 seconds. It was a perfect pose. And of course I had to leave my headset on the deal, and I put my pants back up because we're going back on, and I hear Frank Chirkinian, our producer, screaming. I can hear him in the headset. What the hell are you? What? And I'm picking this, Frank, yeah, Gary here, what? And he starts in on me, and I go, Frank, we're in a commercial break.
No.
There was a pregnant pause, and he goes, you idiot. There are 27 different corporate tents here, and you went to every one of them. I go, oh, really? Good. He says, I will need 27 letters from you written to every corporation down there apologizing for your stupidity. So that's the one thing I remember about
it was just after that they invented the Bird Buster.
Yes.
Which when we did go to commercial,
you're on the Bird.
You were on the Bird, and you couldn't. Nobody could see what was going on. But up until then, the internal feed of the entire golf course. I didn't
know that.
Clubhouse included.
Included the clubhouse.
Yes.
And it was lunchtime.
Yeah.
And he said we didn't need to see that at all. At all. So anyway, that's.
But what else happened that week?
Jose Maria.
What else traditionally happened that week?
Was
at Akron.
Dinners at Akron. Dinner.
Come on.
Dinner.
Closing
dinner.
Lowlights.
CBS
CBS
lowlights.
It was traditionally that week, which was highlights of all the lowlights
of everything like that.
Kind of bloopers.
They would put that into a tape, and we would shut the doors, and all CBS would sit in there and vow never to say a word about these lowlights. And
that made it.
Oh, of course it made it. Yes, of course. Because you kind of actually, that was not done for the lowlights, but every once in a while you do something so you make sure you got in the lowlights because. Do you have any of those left? They're VHSs.
No, I've got DVDs.
Do you really?
Oh, yes.
You turn into DVDs?
Yeah, I got DVDs.
Oh, we're going to get drunk one night, and we got to go over those again.
We can maybe have a private party, but they will never see the light of day. Not in today's world.
No. You talk about woke. Whoa, baby.
I've got to tell you, there are things on our Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers YouTube channel that Peter and Gary could never share before to the public, only to their buddies, and now they can share them with you. Just like, subscribe, share it with your friends. You get to hear them telling the real stories, the true stories, unfiltered, unvarnished, because now the shackles are off. They're free at last. They're able to do it. Gary, I've got a little something for you to give away. Would you grab these? This is from Palm Golf, a little gift pack. It's from Palm Golf, kind of a Masters theme hat and a glove, a little gift pack. It's nice, right? Don't put it in your pocket. This is
got a little thing here from Hilton Head, it looks like, right, Peter?
Yeah, it's got isn't
it
pretty cool?
Isn't that the deal?
So then Masters colors there, Palm Golf, little giveaway. Remember, just sign sign up below, give us your email address, and we'll let you know if you've won. It's a free giveaway. Everything out here is free for this. Hey, unfortunately, we haven't been able to call really any live golf today. We might be back at another major. We might be calling some live golf, but we really do appreciate everybody watching. Before we wrap up, fellas, anything that you want to throw in there? You know what I'd like to hear? I want to hear what you think, guys, you think is going to happen. That last 12 holes tomorrow, and then the 4th round, all to be done and completed on Sunday. Gary, what's your call? Who do you think's going to compete, and who do you think's going to take home the green jacket tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I take a look right now. There's a 4-shot difference, but somebody's got Rahm has got a birdie putt, and Koepka's got about a 9-foot par putt. So that could flip to 2 shots.
2 shots
in
easy.
a hurry. Anyway, these two guys going at it is going to be spectacular because they are alike. They're just massively talented. They are driven beyond belief. Again, Rahm is the most competitive guy. Might be the most competitive guy I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And he is on a roll right now. And you could see when he 4-putted the first hole and then ended up shooting 65, right?
Yeah.
What? You can't, what? You can't 4-putt the first hole. You're in shock for the next 15 if you do that. And he comes back and shoots around like that. He's got it going. He is playing well. It's going to be fun to watch these two. Somebody sneaking in and making a show of it. They have to do it in the morning to try to catch them a little bit because their gap right now is pretty large between those two guys and the rest of the guys catching up.
That said, if the conditions, temperature-wise and wind-wise, it's not scheduled for any rain after like midnight tonight or something like that. If the conditions become a little bit more benign, this golf course is ripe for the taking.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see a 62 or a 63 tomorrow.
I think it really depends whether they got the sub-air working really hard and getting the water out of there.
The sub-air is going to take the water out of the greens, and that's a given. But they're never going to firm up. Well, you're going to be throwing darts.
So the golf course could be playing really long.
Yeah,
really.
I understand that, but
really
I also think that it's not out of the realm of possibility that you're going to see a 62 or a 63, which might bring somebody back into the equation. If either one of these two guys.
Who do you like? You're pontificating. Who do you like?
Making sure he's picked him. He's picked Rahm. Who do you got, Peter?
Oh, I think Brooks Koepka's going to win.
Yeah.
I think he's got
$20.
20 bucks.
You and me.
20 bucks. Okay.
I'm not taking Sam.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a huge bet for McCord. Just so you know. I think that Brooks has the proverbial chip back on his shoulder. I think he's healthy. He's swinging well, and I think he wants to just shut people up about him leaving for the LIV Tour, about the LIV Tour being an exhibition tour, about his game being over, which is why he left. I think that he is almost as competitive, naturally speaking, as Rahm is, but he's got a lot more to prove and a lot bigger chip on his shoulder than Jon does.
You're telling me he's got a lot more pressure on him.
No.
Really?
No. That's not pressure to him.
Huh? Okay.
No.
Interesting. Hey, we had a question. We had asked for questions. We had a question from Ben. Ben wanted to know from you guys, in your opinion, who is more fun to hang out with, Jack Nicklaus or Tom Weiskopf? Would you both spend time with? Who wants to go first on that?
I used to room with Tom Weiskopf.
Oh.
You don't want to hang with Tom unless you've got serious abilities to stay up late and do funny things. I've been around Jack a long time, but I don't think I've ever been out with him, and I don't know if he has a nightlife. I know Tom did.
Tom did.
With an exclamation point. God love him.
Yeah, this is going to sound like Jack's no fun, but I mean, because he's an absolutely terrific human being, and along with his wife Barbara, and great to be around with, and so on and so forth. But when you're dealing with Tom Weiskopf, you're dealing with another planet.
Another level.
It's another level entirely.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, would you like to fly a plane at 60,000 feet, or would you like to go to the moon? Okay, that's Tom. So Tom wins that battle.
Tom wins that battle. Okay, I've got another one from Joe in Denver. He wants to know from each of you what the best shot you ever saw and called was. So Peter, you go first on this
Well,
one.
the best shot I ever saw was not one that I called.
Okay.
The best shot that I ever saw was 1981 Palm Beach Gardens PGA National, the old PGA National, and it was Seve Ballesteros in the Ryder Cup playing Fuzzy Zeller. I mean, this was epic. The rough was like this long, literally this long, and Seve duck cooked his tee shot. They were tied at the time, and Fuzzy bladed his driver out to the right. They're both in the hay. Seve tries to hit it out of the hay over the fairway bunker on the corner, can't get it out, puts it in the fairway bunker. Fuzzy hacks it out, and he's now got a 1-iron left to the green. And Seve's got a lip that I would say it's a 6-iron lip. I could probably clear it with a 6-iron.
I remember the shot, yeah.
Seve goes in there, he's got 235. I remember it like it was yesterday. He's got 235. He aims 50, 55, 60 yards to the left, takes his 3-wood, picks it off the sand, hits it out there, slices it 60 yards, hits it about 25 feet behind the hole, just off the back edge.
Wow.
I mean, it was with a persimmon 3-wood and a balata ball into the wind and whatnot. And then Fuzzy ripped a 1-iron, and they ended up 2-putting.
1-iron? 1-iron? That scares me to say it.
That's like a 4-iron today.
Yeah, it is.
You know, so whatever. But that's the single best shot that I've ever seen.
That's good.
One of the best shots I've ever called.
Yep.
Phil Mickelson, currently 5 under through 7. It was on my hole at Augusta 13. He's in the pine straw. Typical Phil, right? I mean, it's so typical Phil.
I got to do it.
You got to do it. Bones is trying to talk him out of it. Bones loses the argument, and this Phil pushes him away, hits a 6-iron to there, 4 feet for eagle, right? Misses the putt.
Sure.
You know,
And an easy one. It was straight up the
it
hill.
was straight up the hill. There was nothing in the putt, but he just wanted the challenge of pulling off that shot, and when he did, he didn't care.
Yeah.
Should have, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So, how about you?
You know, the one I told the story before. It was, we're doing Firestone, and it was a Saturday, and Tiger is in the last group, and Faraday's following
18.
him. Huh?
18th hole.
Yes. And Faraday's following him. So I get done, and I'm on the 16th hole, and I go back into the trucks. And Faraday said, you got to give me a ride back. He never has a car. They won't give him a car for a lot of reasons. So I go, okay, I'll pick you up. So anyway, I go back, and I'm doing something there, and Faraday comes into the trucks, and he goes, did you watch this at all? Did you watch the ending? I go, no. He goes, do you have a wedge and a ball? Yeah, it's in my club. Grab it. Let's go back out. I said, no, let's get going. He goes, hey, get the wedge and a ball. So I get in the thing. I have no idea what he's talking about. Yeah. So we drive out to 18, and we go on the left rough. The 18th hole at Firestone is a dog leg to the left, forest on both sides, and the hole's 470, 480. And our Tiger got in the tee, and he had a snap hook with the 3-wood. So he's in there, and David, I didn't know at the time, David takes me in, he gives me a wedge, and we walk into the woods, and the fairway's out there going this way. We walk into the woods, and he flops the ball down. And he goes, okay, right there. And I look down, there's another divot there, big divot there. And it's kind of still warm, that divot. And I'm looking at it, and the fairway's over that way, right? But it goes around. And he goes, 100, you can't get the ball from there to the fairway. And I'd look at it, and I'd look at the lie, and as you know, 100 to me is 100.
That's a lot.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this, and it's 30 yards. I can't do it. I go, I can't. And I go, so what's this all about? And he goes, well, it's 194 from here to the green.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, all you see is trees there. You could go out the fairway, but you'd have to hit it a 60-yard, 40-yard hook. And I go, yeah. He goes, well, let me tell you what happened. So I go on the fairway, and they come down. They go, David, what's he got? He's got nothing. He's going to have to chip it out over there, and then he's going to come in from there. So as soon as he says that, there is a motion down to the ball from his swing. Divots are flying, clubs twirling, everything else. And Ernie Els, who is the second best player in the world, is walking behind him. Okay? And he's walking behind him as David is now announcing this. As this ball comes out, and David's eyes get real big, and all of a sudden behind him, Ernie on live television goes, what the fuck was that? And this ball goes out and around, goes on the back of the green. He hit it 197 with a pitching wedge that I couldn't hit 30 yards right there. And Ernie was the second best player in the world. Now that's announcing right there. Because literally that's what everybody thought. Are you kidding me? You can't hit this shot. And I didn't believe it. We had to go back in the trucks and they racked it up for me. And I watched the shot and I go, that's impossible. And we're supposed to be down there going, Peter, he's got 185 here. He's in the bushes to the left. He's got wild rhinos over there. What's the chance? And we'd always go, he's got nothing. We'd never say that anymore. Oh, well, let's see what he's got here, see what he's going to do with this. But that's the one I remember of a bunch of shots he hit during our tenure out there at CBS watching him that I remember just because of the complexity of everybody that was involved. And the producer was hitting the button with David going, tell me you didn't say that. Tell me. He said, no, Ernie was right behind me. He said it.
I didn't say it. Well, these stories and more, some great instruction from Peter Kostis. We're going to have some great guests on in the coming weeks. We just had David Faraday on. We're going to be shooting with the great comedian Lewis Black, good friend of Peter's, coming up. Gary's promised us a very special current tour player guest very soon. They may not hit golf balls, but we're going to have some fun with them as well. Remember, like, subscribe, and share. Before we go away, Gary, you've got one more head cover there. Let's give it away. Show us that head cover underneath the bazooka. What? No, the other one. What is it? Describe it for us.
It's a bunch of tropical birds.
Fantastic.
Look like they're in a mating process.
CMC Design.
Okay,
yep,
there they are right there.
CMCdesign.com.
So that's kind of fun.
Super fun. Yeah, nothing but birdies.
Cuckoo,
nothing but
cuckoo.
birdies from CMC. They've got some
Don't
great
let me
stuff.
do this, Peter. I'm exposing way too much of my fragile psyche.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, can you feel my pain?
So thanks again to our sponsors. Thanks for our wonderful prizes. Gary's doing his bird sounds. You can, again, see more. Follow us on social media, Kostis McCord, on all your favorite social media. YouTube channel, Kostis McCord. Like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching today. Be sure to tune in for more very soon. You heard the guys' picks for final round of the Masters tomorrow.
$20.
And stay tuned to see more very soon. Thanks again for watching. Have a great night, everybody. Happy Easter. We'll talk to you very soon.
Quiet.